So I was saying that our last lecture we stopped at free space. So we are left with these four, and we want to do initially the conditional formatting was in between the pivot chart and power query. So I moved it up, saying we should do conditional formatting first, then move into pivot chart and pivot table. So this Power Query, I think we'll go to Power Query when we want to do Power BI so that we it works together. So in Excel, we only have these three topics left to discuss. Then we move to Power BI. So hopefully, let's see where we get to tonight. Sorry,
Okay.
um, please, I want to meet everybody now so that we can just stop.
But sorry, please, can you enlarge your screen?
Okay, all right, I'll do that. All right. So, like I said, you always can message me on the WhatsApp group if you have any question, because right now you'll not be able to to I will not be able to hear you again. All right. So you said enlarge screen. Actually, the this is my entire screen. Oh. This is my entire screen. So all right, let's quickly move to conditional formatting. I was telling you that what conditional formatting does is that it colors your data depending on specific requirement or specific criteria that you've highlighted. So I wanted to turn this to a table, and I was saying that if you want to turn a data into a table, remember I told you all you need to do is press Control T on your system. So Control T. When you do this, it turns to a table. But in this case, it will not. Why? Because this whiskey, the sellers, we retrieve the names from location using the unique function. Remember what we did then was unique and so on. So when you retrieve information with the unique function, you cannot turn it to a table. So let's try it and see what it will say. Oh, sorry, you cannot. Am I even getting it? Yeah. So it's saying spill. So basically, that's is not acceptable. So what you will do in this case is, since it's not many, we can type it out, whiskey, Davido, and so on. But then you remember our formula here depends on whatever is here. So let's delete the sellers. Then let's retrieve the names of the seller in another way that will not use unique, so that we can turn it to a table. So come to your let me delete this. Come to where we have sellers. Where are they? Okay, sellers. Copy everything. Then come to where you want it. Just click this cell and press enter. Now, when you press enter, come to your data ribbon. Then you see something here. We call it remove duplicate. So for people who cannot use unique function in their Excel, that is, people who are using the older version, this is another way to get the unique values. So just say remove duplicate. So it's telling you expand the selection. When you say expand selection, it means you want to expand beyond what we've highlighted. But in this case, we just want to continue with the current selection, then remove duplicate. So it's going, then you go ahead. Okay, so we now have our duplicate, and you see the moment the names comes back, the figures comes back as well. So we can now go ahead and press Ctrl T, then turn our data into a table. So we now have a table. Now let's do something interesting with this thing. Let's copy the formulas here, just because I don't want to type it all over again. Now let's copy the formulas here. Control A, Control C. Control A for select all, Control C for copy. Then come to, Sorry. So let's copy the formula. Control A for selecting or Control C for copy. Then let's come to this place and you know use the same formula. We just want to repeat the same thing here, but we want to use this row, this column for the conditional formatting. Now when you have this data set, if you want to use conditional formatting, what we can do is select it. This is your conditional formatting. From the home ribbon you can see conditional formatting. Click it. Now there are different types of um, conditional formatting. If you click the first one, you see greater than. When you click greater than, so you can put a specific figure here. So if you want to say greater than 1 2, let's use 1 2. Yeah, then you can select the color. Maybe it's red text. Okay, no, let's use the lights. So when you select that, you see all the figures that are greater than 1 2 has been highlighted. So if you say greater than 2000, okay, those ones are greater than 2000. So let's say greater than 2002. You see only one is highlighted. So before clicking OK, I'm just going to cancel. That's what the first one can do. Then go back and say okay, conditional. So you have less than, then you have between. When you say between, you are choosing between two numbers. So if you say between, no, no, no. So if you say between um 1 2 to 1 2 and yeah, um just anything you can choose between and get your data between two figures anyway. So you get, let's change this to 2000 and 1 5. Okay, we don't have 1 5, we have 1 2 or 1000. Okay, so you can see between. So this is the largest one, then this is the smallest one anyway. So that's what the between can do. You can also go ahead and say equal to. So if you want it to be equal to, let's say you want to color a specific value, maybe equal to 1000. Then you have text that contain all these things. You can still access them through another means. We'll still go there. So the second one is top 10 items, top 10%, bottom 10%, above average, below average. So you click above average, you just see. So what this one has done is that it has calculated the average already. Then it is now giving you it has now colored the ones that are above average. So yeah, that's conditional formatting. Now, okay, we have someone. I don't know if I'm the only one that can't hear anything. Really? Alright, let me unmute so that please can anybody hear me? Um
Yes, we can.
okay, okay. So maybe what's the name again? Blessing, you are the only one who I think so maybe you can just disconnect and reconnect again. Thank God I'm recording sure. So alright. So back to conditional formatting. Let's use the one I wanted to talk about today is the color bar. But before I talk about the data bars, let's talk about the color scale. Now let me just use this for color scales. Let's use profit. So conditional formatting, let's use color scale. So when you choose any of these, um you see that the it is moving from yellow to green if I'm correct. So it means okay, the red is the red is the least, then the green is the highest. So wherever you see green, just know that okay, you have high profit. Whenever you see red, you have low, and so on. You can also change to whatever color you prefer. You can change to um gradient color. So all these ones are depending on whatever you prefer. But this is just to tell you that this is what conditional formatting can do. Let's use this. Yeah. So the the whiter it is, the lower the profit. The darker the red, the higher the profit. So that's good. Now you can always if you don't want your conditional formatting again, you can always come to clear rules. So clear rules for from selected cell or clear rules from entire sheet. So obviously if you click clear rules from entire sheet, you are clearing everything. All right. So now let's talk about the the data bar. So data bar is just like you come to data bar. This one will just give you a simple paragraph or something like that. Yeah, let's use this color. So now we've done this. So what this thing is the bar is based on the values, obviously. Then let's go ahead and do some settings. So you select it again, then you come to manage rules. When you come to manage rules, you select, sometimes you have multiple conditional formatting formulas, but this time around we have one. But in case you have many, you have to select that particular one, the one you want to edit. So you say edit rules, then you come to show bars only. What this thing will do is it will remove all the values. Since we have them here, we just want this bar to show the progress. So you say show bar only, then you can change the color if you want, then you click OK, then you click OK. So you see the values has gone on. So you can change this to, let's call this gauge or whatever it is. So you can actually sort as well. So you can sort this based on largest to smallest. Then we have a bar. So these are simple things you can do with conditional formatting. Then another thing you can do with conditional formatting is you can go to location and say new rules. So this is just what what you're saying is the same thing as when you say conditional formatting, come to this place and say it text that contains. Some of these things are the same thing you see in new rules. So either way is okay. So new rules format all cells based on their values, format only cells that contain. I like to use this a lot. So when you want to format, use conditional formatting for text. So it's better to use format cells that contain. So you can come here and say specific text that is containing, not containing, beginning with, ending with, or whatever. So you say containing, then let's say Nigeria. So please, whatever you are typing here must be within your data set, obviously. So you say Nigeria, then you click on format. So you can decide to change the font, change the border, change anything, then but this is where you change the color field. So you can choose, okay, let's use green, but green will not show in that blue well, so let's just use yellow just to tell you. So you say okay, then so anywhere you see Nigeria, it will just come out yellow. So this is just, I normally use this when um where I work, when we want to highlight some things like a particular topic. I normally use this to determine, let's say we want to remove some products from our sales, just highlight that, okay, maybe techno phones for instance. We don't sell phones, just using that as example. So you say techno phones, then you just say them, then you can just select them and delete them instead of searching and searching. So that's it by with conditional formatting. There are a lot of things you can do with conditional formatting. So just go ahead and play around with it. Come to new rules, test all these things, and you just, okay, there's another one. That one is icon. So let's do another thing by copying this formula. Select all, Control C. Let's paste it here. So let's do icon with this. So icon, I use this one will just determine my sales. If so, when you select any of the icon, it will automatically put the range for you, but you can go ahead, come to manage rules, select this one, edit rules. Then you can now um determine how you want these things to be formatted. So this one is now based on percentage. You can change from percentage to number to formula to percentile. Most times you may use percentage, so you can say, okay, from when value is greater than or equal to 67, that's when it shows green. So when value is less than or equal to 33, then it shows yellow. So this one means when the value is less than 33%. Remember, these things are in percent. You can change to anything you want. So you can change the dimensions of how you want it. Then you can say, okay, show data only, just like we did the last time. Then when you do that, see this. So you can always tell from your from the bar whether your sales is you know met target, not met target, something like that, depending on what you set over there. So this is, like I said, please just go to conditional formatting and play around it. They are very straightforward. I don't think it's a big thing. Now we want to move to the most interesting part, which is pivot table. You see, everything we've been doing so far, the sum if, count, all those stuffs, we can simplify them with what we call pivot table. So in the first, I think in the first lecture we did a lot about sum if, just like we did here, the sum if, this and this and this and this. So instead of doing the writing out these formulas, the faster way and most efficient way of analyzing your data is using the pivot table. So what we would do um tonight is we are going to create some pivot tables. Then if time allows, we go ahead to make some pivot charts. Then we create a nice dashboard. Now let me show you the dashboard I'm hoping that we will create. If not tonight, definitely in our next lecture is let me open it up. This one I was just playing with it, and okay, so eventually this is the data set we are using right now. So this is the chart we have, the dashboard I've created, and this is how you can interact with the dashboard. Sorry, it's taking time to load. So this is how you can interact with the dashboard. You can view your sales based on Australia, Canada, England. Then you can view based on the sellers, Burna Boy, Davido, and so on. So this is the ultimate goal. Maybe we'll get there tonight or not. It depends on the time. So now let's going back to our original data. So I'm going to clear all the rules now. Oh, sorry. Or at the same time, if you don't want to clear rules, you can always delete from here as well. So you can select this one, delete, select this one and delete. So it's still the same thing as going here and say clear all rules from this table, from this entire sheet here. All right. So we want to create pivot table now. When you want to create pivot table, creating pivot table is very, very easy. So select anywhere within your data range, then come to insert. You see pivot table here is always there. Even if you are using 2016 or the older version, I think, yeah, it's there. So select pivot table. Now it's asking for the table range. Remember, we've named this table to sales in our last lecture. We rename the table to sales. How do you know that? Is when you click this table, come to table design, you see sales. Normally, if you did not rename it, if you say table one, table two, or something like that. But since we renamed this, then if you did not rename it, if your data set is not stable at all, we can have data set like random things like stuff. So if it's not table, it will now ask you for selecting the range. So you can just, well, if you pick up, so mostly just use table, Control T, and turn everything to simplify. So anywhere in your data range, click Insert, Pivot Table. Then our table range is sales. So let's say we don't have a table range. You click your mouse here, then you select from here to here, something like that. But since we have the table range as sales, then come to leave all these settings. So come to new worksheet or existing worksheet. Existing worksheet means you want to create a pivot table inside this particular worksheet. That's the existing worksheet. But new worksheet means you want Excel to create a new worksheet for your pivot table entirely. Now, people don't do this. I've seen some tutorials on pivot table where they don't do this, but I don't know why. Maybe they don't know or something. But it's always a good practice to check this box. It says add this data to the data model. What this thing does is that in your pivot table, you might need to calculate some functions. We call it DAS. DAX, X for saxophone. So what DAS means is okay, call it DAS. So DAS is data analytics expression. So there are formulas that you write in pivot table and Power BI. They are a little bit okay, they are similar to Excel formulas, sometimes not the same, something like that. But if you do not check that box, you will not be able to write your DAS formula. So that's the point. Always check this. Whether you need to write DAS or not, it's okay to check this box. So then you click OK. It is as simple as that. Your data range, existing worksheets, then you click the test. Okay, sorry. What do you mean it's not valid? Okay, let's try this again. Insert pivot range. Alright, so we are going to a new worksheet. Now these are pivot table. These are pivot table. Now, before we proceed, let me just explain this pivot table fields for you. We have the filter category, we have the column, we have the values, we have the rows. Now, there's something called, depending on what you are doing in Python, SQL or something, we call it integer. Integers are just numbers. Integers are numbers. Then we have floats or decimal. We have string. So we have string. So string are text A, B, C, and D. But one thing about string is that they are always in quotes. So if we have anyone here who is familiar with Excel, SQL, and so they understand this. So float is 1 point or 12.4. So why am I showing you this? Is that mostly in pivot table or even in Power BI, when we go to Power BI, Power BI is a little bit related to what we are doing here. The only thing that can be in your values, if you notice this formula here, it's showing in secondary school, this formula means summation. If I remember correctly, yeah, it means summation. So what this thing is saying is that this Excel or pivot table is expecting anything that you put in this category to be a data that can be calculated, which is mostly integer and float. So you can only put values, figures. Yeah, let me use figures in this place. Now, if you decide to put string, For instance, what's an example of a string in this case? An example of a string is this particular one. This one they are text. If you decide to put this in the values, the only thing it can do is it can only count it. It cannot, definitely cannot song Whiskey with Davido. It does not make sense. So the only thing that um category field is expecting is maybe your profit, your sales price, your cost price, and you can add it together, sum it, depending on whatever you want. Calculate average, calculate the standard deviation, even if you want. So then the rows and columns, they are meant for categorical data, which are this. So when we go ahead to use pivot table, you understand it better. So let me clear this. Now we want to view our products. We want to view our products and profits. So when you put products in rows, so you see it has created the rows. These are products. Then you want to see the profits. So you can say you can put profit in value. So now you are seeing camera. This is a profit of camera. Then if you want to see, okay, let's show the cost as well. If you want to see the cost, so this is the cost. Then if you want cost to come first, just drag it on top of the profit. So cost will come first, profit. Then we want to see the price, or the sales rather. I think we have the sales here, okay. So we can drag this in between sales. So now you see, instead of writing this, if we wanted to do this with the sum, if you'll have to type sum this, if this is this, if this is this, then make sure it is relative cell reference, absolute cell reference. But with pivot table, you don't need that. You just, to in 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you create your table. Now let me touch it up. Let us add filter. So we can put our month inside filter, or we can put our sellers inside the filter place. So the filter can be anything, it can be your location, it can be anything. So now we are seeing the data for everybody. But if you want to base it on any of the sellers alone, Burna Boy. So everything you are seeing now is for Burna Boy. If you want to filter it for Davido, everything you are seeing now is for Davido. So this is what pivot table can do. And there are a lot of things you can even let's say you put your month, because you can have more than one data set in, or field rather, in a particular field. So let's put month there. So let's put month on the top of product. So what this thing is doing, let me clear this so that we can have for everybody. Let's select all and click OK. So we have for everybody. Now what this thing is doing is that for April, this is your sales for April. So you can check for August, you can check for December, February, January, and so on. So this is what pivot table can do for you. I'm sure you guys understand the level of code we would have to write with the sum if we needed to calculate for April, for May, and all those stuff. So in April, you are making the cost of computer in April is 3 whatever currency, then the sales price is 8, then obviously the profit is 5, 8 minus 3. So this is what you can do with pivot table. You can arrange your data anyhow you want it. Just remember that whatever you put in values must be calculable data. So mostly figures and all. Um, Now there is a little thing we need to correct about this data set. before we proceed. Otherwise, it will cause a problem for us in future. Now, if you notice the months, normally some are abbreviated, some are typed in full. For instance, April is in full. Meanwhile, we have August as abbreviation. Then we have June in full. Then I think just June and April. So we need to rename April to APR, then June to JUN without typing in it full. Why? Because when you want to sort, when you want to sort, okay, let me quickly do this so that you understand what I'm saying better. So let's copy this. Let's just paste it here. Then let's get the unique. Remember, we can come to data, remove duplicate, select current selection. So we've gotten everything here. Now we want to sort this data to, I don't know if you guys notice, you can only sort two ways, from largest to smallest, or ascending or descending order. So when we want to sort this from A to Z, which is ascending order, or Z to A, which is descending order. But let's say we want to sort it January, February, March, which is neither descending nor ascending, but we want it sorted in a specific way. So let's say sort A to Z. You see, it's saying April, August, December, February, so on. So this is ascending order. So if you sort in descending order, you just start from September as well. Now, when you want to sort days or dates, yes, which is either days, month, you come to sort, then you go to custom list. From the custom list, you select um you select the last one, which is the order in which you want your data sorted. Then you say you go to custom list again. Then you can see January, February, and so on there. So you want to sort it in this particular format. Now, we have issue with this data because we have September in abbreviation, but we have June written full, then we have April written full. So this will affect the sort. So let's try it. So let's say we want to sort by January, February, and March. So you see it's doing January, February, March, but it has skipped April. Why? Because it is, this sorting is expecting APR, not April. So if you decide to sort again with the full one, we still have the same issue. So if you decide to sort with December, November, so we see encounter same. So we have January, February, March, again there's no April. So this is the issue with this thing. Now it is okay to do it now, because when you start creating your pivot table like we've done here, you can only edit it manually, which is not good, which is not advisable. So these are part of the things you do with your data before you even start any analysis. Make sure that everything is appropriate. Now, so what we can do is, we want to rename everywhere there is April here, we want to change it to APR. Definitely we cannot go ahead and be changing it one by one. So we have something called, you can use the Control H. Control H we do find and replace. So when you press Control H, let me type it here so that okay, Control H. So click everything, that is select everything, then Control H. So you are saying find what? Find April. Replace with what? Replace with APR. It's as simple as that. Then you come to replace all. So it's going to say all done. We made 12 replacement, meaning there was 12 Aprils there. So that's it. Okay, sorry, we did it already. Then we want to replace which one again? June. June. So we want to replace June. So find June. replace with JUN. So replace all. So we made 21 replacement. And I think that's all. That's the only thing that is not written in abbreviation. Yes. So you can now exit this. Now let's go ahead and bring our data back.
July.
July. Oh, it's true. Okay, let's quickly do that for July. Control H. Thank you. July. We'll just change this to yes. Replace all. So we made 26 replacement. Now I believe that's all. Yeah. Alright. So let's copy everything and paste it. Just paste the values. Okay, by the way, what when you copy something and you want to paste, if you press Control V will do the normal pasting. Yeah, it will do the normal pasting. Now the normal pasting comes with the formula. If this if what you copied is as a result of formula, or it is formula that determines that data, when you press Control V, it comes with that formula, it comes with the formatting as well. But when you use right click and you say paste values only, this thing will just paste the values without bringing in the formatting and the formulas alongside. So we've pasted the data. Come to your under data, see data valid. Under data tools, you see duplicate. Yes. All right. Oh, this thing was already sorted. Yeah. So now, you can now sort based on January, February, March, and so on. So let's change it to A to Z. No. Yeah, this thing is already sorted. Anyway, this is the way to sort your months so that you can now go ahead with the sorting a month something. So it's good we did this before we continue, because otherwise it will give us problem in the future. All right, so let's move on. Let's go back to our pivot table. So I'm going to delete this table now. Then we can create another one. um I've actually forgotten how to delete a table, but I think you can press delete. You can't make this change it to the selected, because if you affect the people table. Okay, let's just remove everything here. Why I'm deleting this is because we did not do the editing before. Let me just delete this place entirely. Yeah, delete. So let's go ahead with creating a new pivot table now, because the pivot table will create the limitation of Excel. Because normally you wonder that since we can do these things with Excel, why do you need Power BI? Because this is what Power BI does actually. But Excel has its own limitation. So when we go to Power BI, you understand it better. The thing with Excel is that when you want to create these visuals, you have to create as many pivot tables as the visuals. So we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 visuals here. You need to create 9 pivot tables. Meanwhile, in Power BI, you don't need to create any pivot table. You can do as many visuals as you want without creating pivot table. So that's the limitation of Excel. So let's go back to this and start afresh. So now I want to work on making this dashboard. So we've started, although we might not finish it tonight, but we've started now. So we want to calculate our so select anywhere within the data, go to insert pivot table, existing worksheet, add to, no, new worksheet option. So select OK. So let's see, let's check, let's go ahead with month. Let's see our profit by month. Let's go with cost. So let's do this. These are, so we change this to months. So we change this to months. Then okay, when you put a data in values, you can do, it's showing sum of cost. So what this thing is doing is that it has calculated the sum of the cost for April, August, and so on. So you can decide to, maybe you don't want the sum, you want the average, you want the standard deviation or something like that. So just right click on this, select the drop down rather, then you go to value fit settings. So inside value fit settings, you can select whatever you want, maybe the minimum, the maximum, the standard deviation, the variance, yeah, average, and so on. So that's the case. Then that's where you can actually edit as well. You can edit the name here. So instead of sum of cost, we just want to say cost. Just want to say cost. So these are a few things about pivot table. These are little, to me, these are stressful. But when you know this, it's part of it. The knowledge you have using this pivot table will help you when we go to Power BI as well. So we've done this. Now go back to your sales. We want to create another pivot table. Insert pivot table. Now this time around we will say existing worksheet, because we already have a worksheet where we want our pivot table. So we say add this data to data model. Then now when you select existing worksheet, you have to navigate to the worksheet. Then you select where you want it, which is this. So click OK. Then we have month cost, then we have month and sales. Remember our sales is sales price. So again, you can come here and change this thing to months, and change this. You can double click from here as well and change this thing to sales. So let me be a little bit fast now, so that, but I'm sure you'll be able to follow. Insert pivot chart, add existing worksheet. Okay, so we want our month, then profit. Okay, so I was telling you about adding your data to model. That was, I was telling you to always check when you want to create pivot table. What it does is that, suppose we the profit is not in our data set, and you want to calculate profit yourself from the table without, let's say this profit is not there, this one. So and you want to calculate it yourself in the pivot table. So that's the function of adding it to data model. So you right click this sales, you see add measure. Then when you click add measure, it has taken you to what we call, this is what we call DAS. This is where you write your DAS formula. Now table name, of course, our table name is our sales table. Remember that. So what do you want to call this? Let's call it profit. We already have one profit, so let's just call it pro. Let's add many things. So the formula now is, we call it sum s. Sum s is, I don't know how to explain it further than saying it's sum s. This is how you calculate in DAS. So when you say sum s, you open bracket, sorry, then you will refer to the table, which is the sales table. Then you write your expression, which is you want to subtract the cost from the sales. That's what will give us the profit. So you go to sales. So that's yeah, sales. which is our sales price. Remember that sales price minus, I told you how to reference to tables in the last lecture, so I hope what I'm doing is still okay. All right, so sales minus cost, so cost price, then we close the entire bracket now. So you can check your formula if it's okay or not. Check that formula. So it's saying the formula has no errors. If your formula has error, it will tell you. So click OK. Now, if you scroll down, the profit that we just created is there, and it's using this sign to let you know that this is a calculated measure. It's not like it came with the data set. So basically, what is here and what is there is the same thing. I'm just letting you know you can do that as well. So let's add it and see if it is the same. You see, so the one we calculated just now and the one that came with it is, yes. So if this one did not, that's the purpose of adding it to data model. So let's remove this. Let's even delete it. We don't need it. So you can delete measure. All right. So now we've created for. It's okay to create just 3 4 months. Now you can design um your pivot table. So when you click, you come to design. If you notice, when you click the empty space, there's nothing like design. So when you click it, you see more options. So you come to design, then let's have this one as blue. So let's have this as blue. All right. So we want to create another pivot table now. We created 9 charts in that in this thing I showed you. So we are creating 9 charts as well. 9 pivot table rather. So we created 3, 6 more to go. So insert pivot table, sales, existing worksheet. Make sure you check this. It's always important. Even if you don't need to write that, it's okay to, because if you don't check it, when you now need to write that, you cannot do it in that pivot table, except you create a new pivot table. So then you navigate to where you want it. This time around, we want it here. So let's leave a space downward. So we created for months. So let's create for sellers. So we'll put our sellers here. We'll put the cost. So we create cost, sales, and profit as well. So put cost. Then we can say this is sellers, sellers. Then you can say this is cost. This one is profit. All right. I forgot to tell you this. Another thing we must do, or we should do rather, is that it is a good practice to always name our pivot table. You will see why it is needed. Before you name, it will tell you pivot 1, pivot 2, pivot table 2. This one is pivot table 2 because we created one that we deleted. So this is pivot table 2, this is pivot table 3, this is pivot table 4. So since we are creating many, it's always a good practice to name it, because sometimes we need to reference to the table in our dashboard and you don't know which one is pivot 2, which one is pivot 3. So let's just name this costs, since this is cost by month. So you can say cost by month. Please, you cannot put space when renaming. You can use underscore. You can use underscore, but you cannot use space. All right. So this one is now cost by month. So this one, let's name it sales by month as well. Sales by month. Then this one is so this one is profit by month. Alright, so let's go ahead with this. So this one is cost by sellers. Alright, so let's go ahead and create more pivot table. Insert pivot table, existing worksheet, add to data model, then go ahead and select the range. So our sellers, which is sellers, this time around we want to calculate the sales, which is sales price. Yeah, so click this and change it to sellers. Click this and change it to sales. So this is going to be sales by sellers. Then okay, so we created 4 more to go. Insert pivot table, use existing. Alright, so put your sellers down there, then profit. Okay, these are profit. Alright, so sellers profit. So this profit by. Alright, let's quickly make the last one sales. Please, as I'm making it, if you have any question, you can unmute yourself and let me know. I'm creating this. Alright, so we've done for months, we've done for sellers, we've done for let me just check the data and see which one we got done. Sales by month, okay, by product. Alright, I want to do for product now. So our product will come to the rows, then the cost will come to this place. Alright, so now we are going to call this product, then this one you double click, call it cost, then we are going to rename it as cost by product. Alright, so we'll make another one. We just have 2 more to go now. So we have products, then we have the sales. So let's rename products sales. So we are going to call this sales by products. Yeah, so 1 more to go. Inside pivot table. Okay, existing worksheet. Alright, products, profit now. Good. That's our last pivot table. Okay. Now you can remove this all these grand total if you don't need them. You can just select one, come to pivot table design, I think, or is it just design? Yeah. You come to design, then you see grand totals. You can off for columns and row, off for both rows and columns. So you can do that. So depending on what you want to do. Oops, so I came back to some profile. Okay. All right. So let me quickly change this to red so that we have. Does not matter. I'm just doing it for fun. So we created 9 pivot tables. So now we create the chart one by one again from each pivot table. So let's go ahead. When you click the pivot table, come to your pivot table, analyze, then you see pivot chart. So select pivot chart, then this is where you have the chart. So select the one that you want. Now when you are doing anything for month, for date, if you are going to visualize based on date, which is a day, month, year, or whatever, it is always best practice to use either a line chart or what's the second one, area chart. These are the most suitable visualization for chart. So let's go ahead for the first one. Let's use normal chart. So you can select anyone you prefer here, any one of your choice. So let's just go with the basics. So click OK. Just drag it down. Or one thing you can do is let's go ahead and create our dashboard. Let's go ahead and create our dashboard. So let's call this dashboard. Dashboard. Let's call this our pivot tables. Pivot tables, so that we can know these are our pivot tables. So you can, the moment you've created it, you can come to Control S, which is S for saxophone. This is what I press, Control X. So S, we cut it, then come to your dashboard, press Control V and paste it. Then come back to your pivot tables, create another dashboard. Normally you can create the visualizations now, then copy everything or cut everything, then paste at once. But because this table is too full, so that's why I'm doing that. Now go to your pivot analyze, then select pivot chart. So let's choose area chart for the second one. Click OK. Again, select it, Control S. Let's take it to our dashboard and paste it. Just leave it now anyhow, just paste it anyhow, we'll still arrange it later. Then come to your pivot table. Let's create the third one. The third one, which is okay, pivot analyze, pivot chart, line. Let's just use this again, cut it, paste it in the dashboard. All right, so let's go to our pivot tables now. We want to, for WizKid, for sellers rather, let's use pie chart. Now pie chart is good for data where you don't have too many arguments or too many fields, criteria, whatever. So if we use pie chart for this, for instance, let me just show you. It will be a little bit messy. You can see it's not really cool. So whenever you are using pie chart or donut chart, please just use it when you have few values, to few categories, just 4, even 5 is getting too much, but it depends on you. So let's go back to the day. So let's just use pie chart for this. So use pie chart for the first one. Let's move it here. Let's use donut chart for the second one. Okay. So let's copy these two. Select and select the two at once. Then copy them, paste them here. Don't worry, we surely come back to arrange these ones. So pivot tables. This one, let's create. What did we use in the third one? Okay, we use bar chart. We don't have to follow that anyway. So let's create a simple bar chart now. All right. Control X, put it in our dashboard. All right. So we have three more to create from our pivot table. This is the limitations of Excel actually. When you do this with Power BI, you will enjoy it more. And I hope you guys have installed Power BI because by God's grace, this will be, if not the last, this will be the second to the last lecture we have on Excel. So when we create these charts, we should move to Power BI, or else if I come up with something again. But it's okay, we move to Power BI quickly so that we just don't stick with Excel. So pivot table, pivot chart. Now, okay, let's use bar. There's this type of this type. Okay, but paste it in our dashboard. This. Okay. I believe so far so good, right? Meanwhile, there are other chart too. There are like combo chart, funnel, waterfall, but mostly you cannot use this type of chart for. You cannot use pivot table for this chart. So unless you are using them directly, but in most cases, except you just want to show off, it is quite unnecessary. Okay, so let's go back to our basic chart. So just stick with what you know. I'm Most times I don't use any of these things in my dashboard. So all right, so let's go ahead with. So there are different types of you can have 3D this thing as well. But let's go with the basics. So let's create the last one. We will still edit this thing, so don't worry about it. So let's just go with this. Select both. You can select multiple things by pressing Ctrl and Alt on your system. So when you hold the two, you can now select everything you want to select and copy at once. So, all right. Now we have all our our visualizations here. So let me just reduce the view so that we can just arrange everything quickly. This is how we arrange it. I'm just trying to make sure everything is visible first before starting the arrangement. All right. Let's just put this somewhere there. Now we can. Now there are many ways to edit your visualizations. I hope you guys are following. Don't worry, they are not too small. When we view it back, you see it's large. Okay. So if you want to follow this arrangement, want before that, let's just rename these things actually. So I think this is our we should have done this renaming. This is our cost by cost by month. These are costs by month, the first one. So let's just change the title cost by month. Then I think this is our sales by month. Okay, so let's change it to sales by month so that anybody viewing it will understand what is happening. Then this is our, what are these? This, okay, cost by product. Cost by products. Then this is okay, sales by sellers. All right, this is profits. So this is profit by product. All right, then this is what you can check with the two tips. Okay, this is profit by month. Yeah, who is coming at this time? This person is selling. All right, this is costs by sellers. Remember, your title can be anything. This is sales by product. Then this is profit by product. Yeah. Another thing I want to do with this thing is I want to remove this thing, months, cost, and all those stuff. So I'll go ahead and select this, hide axis feed from chart. In fact, you can just say hide all fields from chart. So this one too, you can delete this, we don't want it. All right, so let's do that for everything as well. Remember, they are just filters, so you may need them, you may not need them, depends on you. This is not, what I'm doing is not the standard, it's just my preference. But then I like mine. So for this, we need, for donut or pie chart, you may need the legend to indicate to people viewing it that okay, red is for Davido and all those stuff. But we don't need the filters. All right, remove idle fields. Okay, let's click that. Yes. So we can now go ahead and let's do something. Let's give it a name. Let's just merge this place together and name it our title. So let's call it data analytics for beginners. So select all. Okay. And let's change it to, because we will eventually stick with this color. Okay, let's leave it that way. Now another thing you can do with this thing to make it look like a real dashboard is that you can come to the view, you remove the grid lines so that you don't see all those grid lines there. Now everything is just plain. Now it's looking like a dashboard. You can decide to remove the headings to all these 1, 2, 3 and ABC, so you can remove the headings as well. So now to fit everything in, everything we are doing now, we just be let's just do this one for tonight. In the next lecture we'll do it better, we'll design it, do something called designing. So you can swap this, swap this, swap this, put this here. So you can arrange however you want. Now let me do something for you. So when you select this and this, if you come to I think shape format, yes, shape format, you come to align and you say align right. What this means is that this cell, it will adjust it together for you. Align right, see it has adjusted, so the line is not the same thing. So these are ways to align your worksheet, your dashboard rather, sorry. Okay, let us expand this a little bit. So let's align everything together again. So let's select everything here and make them, so come to shape format, align. Now go to distribute horizontally. Please, most people don't mistake horizontally to vertically. When something is horizontal, it means it is like this, it is sideways. So when it is vertical, it is up and down. So when you say distribute horizontally, it will evenly split these things together. Now let me click it and see. So it has evenly split it so that it has the same size in the middle. Then you can as well say sorry, you can say align center. That's one. You can say no, let's control do that to do the rest. Then you can say align top. When you say align top, you see everything is there. Let's control Z to do that again. So I'm just telling you things you can do with the align, then you can align bottom. So everything is in the same level now. So if you want to make sure that the height is the same thing, when you click one, you can check the height of the one you want. So go to format. So the height of this is 3.0, so we can make it 3. Yeah, this is 3.0, so let's make this one 3.0 as well. Let's make this 3.0. Let's make this 3.0. So let's do the same thing for these ones. So select everything here. Remember, you can select everything with Control and Alt when you hold the two together. Then come to shape format, align, distribute horizontally. Then let's give it same height. So the height of this is 3.07. Let's make it 3.1. Let's make this 3.1 as well. Let's make this 3.1 as well. So select everything again and come to your shape format and say let's say align bottom. Yes, so everything is evenly split and arranged. Now let's add sliders. Sliders are like filters. They make dashboard more interesting. Now this one you can go ahead. Okay, another limitation of Excel is if you want to sort this, the last one is at the bottom. So if you want to sort this, you need to go back to the pivot table actually. So cost by product, which is I think this. So you need to sort this one in largest to smallest. I think this is it. Go to our dashboard. Okay, so it's here. So if it's, let's change it to the other way around. Are you serious? Yeah. Okay. um all right, so let's go back to the pivot table and change this to the other way around. Sort smallest to largest and see how it reflects. All right, so let's keep this way. You can sort anyone however you want. The limitations of Excel is that you have to keep going forth and back to your pasting. So now let's quickly add slicers to see. But before then, we can do something. Let's select everything to just change the background. Let's give it maybe light blue. Let's give it light blue. Yeah, or anything you want. So we will not do much about editing the dashboard today. As you can see, if you compare this to this, you see I've done a lot of editing. We will go to PowerPoint in our next lecture to build the background and other stuff. All right, so let's quickly add slicers. So there are many ways you can add slicers. One is going to your pivot table. Then when the table has shown, this is how you can show the table in your pivot analyzer. Then you check the field list. The fields will come back. Then you go ahead and right click on anyone there. So our filters will be, our slicers will be months, sellers, and so on. So let's click months, right click on it. You see add as slicer. So when you click it, add as slicer. Then um let's add location as slicer. Right click on it, add as slicer. So let's put it somewhere. Let's add sellers. Yes, let's add sellers as slicer as well. Okay, so if we can do products as well, if it is, so any slicer you want. Where's product? Okay, this product. Add as sliders. So we can copy this for, select everything, just the sliders, then Control S to cut it, and let's paste it here. So let's arrange our sliders. So let's bring this one here. So let's make it 4 rows instead of 1 so that we can have them here. So when you click this, come to sliders, change the columns to 4. Okay, let me quickly do this. Let's add one more row. Yeah, okay. Let's insert one more so that we can view properly. All right. So mm, I want everything to fit in. So let's come to sliders as well and say 3. Okay, yeah. So let's keep the other two here. Alright, we'll do proper arrangement in the next lecture. Okay, let's change the height of this to the height. Let's change it to 2 points. Oh, I'm changing the. Let's change the height to okay 2.7. It's good to use this so that um the size is accurate with others. Yeah, for slicers and just drag up. So this way we can view everything at once. Now let me tell you why a little. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Let's filter. So when you say Burna Boy, Davido, you see only one is changing. Only one is changing. Now you need to do what we call relation, or yeah, relation. Some people say connection. So when you click a filter, when you want it to relate with all the dashboards, you select the slicer, you come to slicer setting, you see report connections. So click report connections, then you select how many you check whichever visualization you want the slicer to relate with. So you can check everything, you can decide to check few depending, but for this purpose let's check everything. So click OK. So now when you say Davido, you are seeing for everything, you are seeing for whiskey, so and so on. Alright, then you can clear the filter by selecting this thing up there. So the same thing for this, select the slicer, under the slicer settings, report connection, then you can say and check everything. Before you do this, the slicer will only work for the pivot table you created it with. So that's why you see it was working with just one. That's the table we created it with. So okay. So when you select these two, you can now see for Italy how we are doing in Italy, Nigeria, United States. You can clear everything. Same thing for this. Sometimes click on. All right. Yes. So now you can interact with your dashboard and okay. So we want to see how these sellers are doing. Maybe Burna Boy, Davido. So just like that, anyway, you can go ahead and start. Interesting thing about this is that when you look at the profit by products, it appears that Davido has the lowest profit. Or when we look at the sales, where is the sales? Sales by products. So sales by sellers. Oh, sales by sellers. We should have made this one instead of should have changed this to okay. But anyway, when you look at the sales by seller, it seems Wizkid is doing the most because it is Wizkid. Then Davido is doing not so well. But if you go ahead and check countries, you may see differently. For instance, look at Canada. Davido is doing well in Canada more than the rest. In fact, I think his sales is greater than the three combined. So you might want to tell your boss, or you might want to ask Davido, why are you doing so well in Canada and you are not doing well in other countries like England and so on. Okay, he's even doing well in England. So these are little things we can do as an analyst to see insight in our data. There are a lot of hidden insights in any given data. So this is where we end the lecture for tonight. In our next class, we'll go from this is a amateur dashboard. This dashboard is for amateurs actually. It's for beginners. Let me not say amateurs, for beginners. So when a beginner makes this kind of dashboard, he may think he has done something good, but in the real sense, your dashboard needs to be better. So we are going to make this one. I'm not even done. I was just playing with my laptop today and I decided to practice for the class, so I made this. So in our next class we'll make something related to this. We might need to bring our filters in the dashboard as well. So we may, when we create our background, we'll change some things about this one as well. So this will be the end of the lectures, guys. I hope. Is there any question? Let me check the group. Um, okay. I don't think there's any question. So, no question so far. So, if you guys have question, you can ask now before we end it all. What about the data you are using now? Is it the same as last week? Yes, it is. It is the same data with last week. It is the same data with the first lecture, the second one, and today. All right, July is also written in full. Thank you for that. So, yes, that's the only question I've seen so far. How can we watch this on YouTube? Well, I will. I'm recording. Hopefully, I normally do have issue with the recording, so this is why I'm always not certain if it will come out well or not. Sometimes sound interference or something like that. So I'm recording. Hopefully, it comes out well like the other ones, and I will upload them midnight because sometimes it's too light for my data subscription. So that is it. In the absence of no questions, we'll see in the next class. And I was saying something the last time that we should try and meet twice in a week so that we can hasten things up. See, believe me, there are a lot of things to do. We are just all this thing. Normally we are not going into full details. I'm sure some of you can still not use the sum if and sum if function. There are a lot of things we can do with the sum ifs. So maybe when we are done with Excel, we can do one big practical where we can create. I'm thinking of maybe we can create a spreadsheet for, let's say, an imaginable imaginated university. Yes, whereby they will calculate their CGPA and it will tell them if they have 2.1, 2.2, or whatever. So we do that as one of the projects, or so that we can get used to Excel very well. Because all I've taught you is, I just believe I've been explaining these things to you. I've explained how to use them. So we've done pivot table and pivot chart. Our Power Query, we'll start it with Power BI, because Power Query you can start with Excel or Power BI. So we'll not do this with Excel, we'll do this with Power BI. So I've explained all these things to you guys. We've done little things. So we've not really used them in the real sense of it. Everything I did was just an example. So maybe when we create um, a project, something like that, and um, what was it called? The university stuff I just said, and maybe we'll understand these things better. So if we can meet twice in a week, please let me know. I cannot impose that on you because I know a lot of people in this group are busy people. So it is entirely your decision. So let me know if we can meet 2 times, then I will know how to work it with my own schedule. So that's it, guys. That's it for today. Thank you for joining. I'm ending the class now.